Welcome to Wasm Wire today. Today we're going to talk about something that's really got people talking. And honestly, a lot of us feel it cutting right to the heart of what it means to be Malaysian. Just recently, a prominent politician, United Malay's national organization Deputy President Mohamad Hasan, spoke up, saying that when it comes to issues like the inverted flag incident, law enforcement shouldn't just target one group. He said, what's the point of law enforcement agencies if we only act against one side and ignore others? And yeah, it makes you think, in our daily lives, whether it's dealing with local councils or even just, navigating traffic, we expect rules to apply to everyone.
Right.
But when it comes to politics, especially something as sensitive as our national symbols, suddenly things feel different. Like there's a different rule book for some. It leaves you wondering, where's the consistency? Where's the fairness in this? It's not just about the flag. It's about whether our shared understanding of justice still holds true for everyone, or if it changes depending on who you are. So for you, thinking about our country right now, what truly stands out? When you hear statements like this, what do you feel is the real intention behind it, and what kind of impact does it have on our daily lives? All right, let's unpack the core issue here.
Yeah.
The recent politicization of the national flag incident in Penang, it kicked off when a vendor, accidentally displayed the Malaysian flag upside down. Sparked some really strong reactions. Now, the youth wing of the Democratic Action Party, they're a major part of the ruling coalition. They've voiced some deep concerns, specifically pointing at Akmal, who's the youth chief of the United Malay's national organization. They basically called his actions and politicizing this whole thing excessive and irresponsible behavior.
Yeah, and it's really important to grasp where the youth wing of the Democratic Action Party is coming from on this. They see Akmal's actions, as a pretty clear attempt to stir up racial confrontation, to push this narrative. Their view is it's a deliberate move to create this false idea, specifically that non-Malays are unpatriotic. And what they find particularly sort of telling is how this pressure, this public calling out, seems aimed only at small vendors, people who are maybe more vulnerable. But then they point out when similar things happen or perceived slip-ups involve allies of the United Malay's national organization Youth Wing, maybe even folks from the Malaysian Islamic Party, Akmal seems to, look the other way, which they argue really shows a kind of selective outrage.
Right. And the youth wing of the Democratic Action Party, they haven't minced words at all. They've actually urged their own party leadership, the main Democratic Action Party and the National Youth Wing, to take a really firm line, basically saying, cut political ties with who they term irresponsible politicians like Akmal. They seem to think that's the only way to clearly reject this politics of, hatred and division they accuse him of pushing. And the accusations are quite pointed, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
They didn't just call him a hooligan. They brought up past incidents, too, like allegedly insulting critics, calling them OKU, which can be used as a really offensive term for people with disabilities. And that attack on the Democratic Action Party MP Teresa Kokit, calling her Nyonya Old Lady, that felt very racially charged to many. Plus his role in the whole KK Supermart thing, the socks controversy, they're saying he incited violence there.
Exactly. And the youth wing of the Democratic Action Party's argument goes beyond just political tactics. They're saying his approach is actually causing real public unease, making people fearful, creating what they call white terror.
Oh.
So this atmosphere where people are even afraid to display the national flag properly, maybe for fear of backlash or scrutiny. Their point is this is a really serious outcome when patriotism gets tangled up with hate politics. It could split the country, basically. They also stress that this kind of behavior challenges the rule of law, public order. They even mention, shopkeepers near that hardware store in Penang closing early because they were scared of potential trouble. So for them, it's not just wrong, it's actually illegal and goes against the whole idea of Malaysia as a diverse, harmonious place.
Yeah. And staying on that theme, the youth wing of the Democratic Action Party has also made it clear they support Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim's call. His call for strict action against bullying, any extremist politics, and discrimination based on race or religion. It fits with that larger picture. Okay, but then let's pivot to the other side of this. Let's look at Mohamad Hasan's perspective, the deputy president of the United Malay's national organization.
Mm-hmm.
He's taken a different tack, hasn't he? Urging fair enforcement regarding the flag incident, saying it shouldn't just be about Akmal.
That's right. Mohamad Hasan's main message seems to be about lowering the temperature, a call for calm from everyone involved. He's really stressing the need to avoid tensions that could, damage national harmony. He's experienced, he knows how delicate things can be. He put it quite succinctly. Whatever happens in the world, every action will trigger a reaction. It's about consequences. He did try to clarify Akmal's intention for that parade in Kapalabatas, saying it was meant to be peaceful, but added that it was provoked. And he noted, thankfully, no actual conflict broke out, suggesting it was a close call. His focus is clearly on stability.
And Mohamad Hasan really hammered home the point about respecting laws, didn't he? In a country with rule of law, emphasizing they must be enforced equally, he stated it very clearly, laws about flag display already exist. If someone displays it wrongly, action should be taken. So he's pushing for that consistency, almost questioning why law enforcement would be selective. It sounds like he's saying the issue isn't if action is needed, but how it's applied and to whom.
Exactly. And from Mohamad Hassan's viewpoint, there seems to be a genuine worry that some political groups are, maybe carelessly, playing with these really potent national symbols, flags, emblems, things that, as he puts it, could easily provoke public anger because, quote, some people are very sensitive to national symbols. That shows an awareness of how deeply these symbols resonate with many Malaysians, emotionally and culturally. The implication is that stirring things up like this risks more than just anger. It risks undermining respect for law and order if everyone isn't held accountable in the same way, fairly, across the board.
And he didn't stop there. He gave some pretty direct advice to the Democratic Action Party as well, urging them to tell their youth wing to act, well, rationally, with a pretty stark warning, actually, that failing to do so could disrupt national stability. That's a serious concern in today's climate.
It really is, and this links to Mohamad Hassan's wider point, which is quite critical. He believes it's vital for all political parties, everyone, to actually sit down and work out real solutions for national harmony in Malaysia. Because we are so diverse. For him, political stability isn't just, a nice idea, it's fundamental.
Yeah.
It's what attracts investment, what secures our economic future. He even brought up the 14th general election as a lesson, didn't he? How that period of instability saw investors pull back. And his warning was quite potent. Don't let trivial matters become the scab that ultimately destroys the country. He's framing this not just as politics, but as something with real economic consequences for everyone.
So what we've heard today, it really lays bare a critical tension point in Malaysian politics right now. On one side, there's this very vocal call to push back against what's seen as divisive, hate-driven politics, a demand that national symbols shouldn't be used to divide us, and a real push for accountability, for the law to apply equally, without politics getting in the way.
And then on the other hand, you have this strong argument for, fairness in how laws are enforced. A plea for calm when things get heated. And that very clear warning, about how fragile our national harmony and even our economy can be if stability is shaken by these kinds of disputes. It's a really complex balancing act, isn't it? It shows those different priorities, different anxieties bubbling up within our government and, within society too.
This conversation is definitely ongoing, and your perspective really does matter. Remember to like and subscribe for more videos like this, where we unpack the issues that shape our nation.